Bonjour. My name is Tim, and I'm from the beautiful city of Paris, France. Although, I must correct myself, I'm originally from Brazil, but I've made Paris my home. I'm excited to share my story with you, a journey of learning English as a second language, and how it has opened doors to new experiences and opportunities. Let's get started. As I told you, I'm from Brazil. This is my story of how I learned English. A journey that started when I was just 15 years old and had a dream of becoming bilingual. I'm excited to share my experiences, struggles, and triumphs with you. And I hope my story inspires and motivates you to pursue your own language learning goals. When I was 15, I decided I wanted to learn English. I grew up in Brazil, where everyone speaks Portuguese, but I wanted to be able to communicate in another language. I thought it would be cool to speak two languages and maybe even improve my life. A friend helped me get started by lending me his old English textbooks. I studied hard for 3 years, reading and writing, but I struggled to speak. I didn't know how to say the words correctly, and it was frustrating. But I didn't give up. When I turned 18, I started working, and that's when my English really improved. I learned by listening and speaking with others. I wish I had the tools we have today, like language learning apps, to help me learn faster. Even so, I'm proud of myself for keeping at it and learning a new skill. As I continued my journey of learning English, I began to realize that immersing myself in the language was crucial. This immersion wasn't just about watching movies or listening to music. It was about integrating English into every part of my daily life. One technique that greatly helped me was changing the language settings on all my devices to English. My phone, computer, and even my social media accounts were all set to English. This constant exposure helped me get used to the language in everyday contexts and learn new vocabulary naturally. I also made it a point to think in English. Initially, it was challenging because my thoughts would naturally occur in my native language, but with practice, I started thinking about daily activities, making plans, and even daydreaming in English. This mental shift was a game changer because it made English a part of my internal dialogue, helping me become more fluent and spontaneous in my speech. Engaging in conversations with native speakers was another significant milestone. At first, it was intimidating, but I soon realized that most people are patient and understanding when they know you're learning. I joined language exchange programs where I could practice English with native speakers in exchange for teaching them my native language. This mutual learning environment was beneficial and made the practice sessions more enjoyable. Traveling, although not always feasible, can provide an excellent opportunity for immersion. Even short trips to English-speaking countries can expose you to different accents, dialects, and cultural nuances. If traveling is not an option, virtual travel through documentaries, virtual tours, and travel blogs can also be effective. Writing in English was another area I focused on. I started by keeping a daily journal where I wrote about my day, my thoughts, and my feelings. This practice helped me improve my writing skills and allowed me to express myself better in English. I also participated in online writing communities and forums where I could share my writings and get feedback from native speakers. Another tip that I found incredibly useful was learning idiomatic expressions and slang. These are often not taught in traditional language courses, but are essential for sounding natural and understanding casual conversations. Watching sitcoms, stand-up comedies, and reality shows helped me pick up these expressions. I made a habit of noting them down and using them in my conversations. In addition to informal language, I realized the importance of understanding and using professional and academic English. This was especially important for my career. I started reading industry-specific articles, research papers, and attending webinars and conferences conducted in English. This exposure not only improved my language skills, but also kept me updated with the latest trends and developments in my field. Public speaking was another area I worked on. Initially, speaking in front of a crowd was daunting, but I joined a local Toastmasters club which provided a supportive environment to practice public speaking. Preparing and delivering speeches in English helped me gain confidence and improve my ability to articulate thoughts clearly and concisely. Teaching English, as I mentioned earlier, was a turning point in my language learning journey. Explaining concepts, grammar rules, and vocabulary to students reinforced my own understanding and mastery of the language. It also taught me patience and empathy, as I could relate to the struggles of my students. Teaching is indeed a two-way street where both the teacher and the students learn from each other. Consistency and persistence are key when learning a language. There were times when I felt demotivated and frustrated, especially when I hit plateaus in my learning. During these times, I reminded myself why I started learning English in the first place. I also set small, achievable goals and celebrated each milestone. No matter how small, these little victories kept me motivated and moving forward. Finding a community of fellow learners was another source of motivation. Being part of a community where everyone is working towards the same goal creates a sense of camaraderie and support. We shared resources, study tips, and encouraged each other. This sense of belonging and shared purpose made the journey less lonely and more enjoyable. One of the most important lessons I learned was to embrace mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process. Instead of being embarrassed or discouraged, I viewed mistakes as learning opportunities. Each mistake was a step towards improvement. This mindset shift made a significant difference in my confidence and progress. I also experimented with different learning methods to find what worked best for me. Some people learn best through visual aids, while others prefer auditory or kinesthetic methods. I discovered that a combination of reading, writing, listening, and speaking worked best for me. Using a variety of resources and methods kept the learning process interesting and effective. Setting specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound SMART goals helped me stay focused and track my progress. For example, instead of a vague goal like improve my vocabulary, I set specific goals like learn and use 10 new words each week. These concrete goals gave me a clear direction and a sense of accomplishment as I achieved them. Incorporating English into my hobbies and interests made learning more enjoyable. I love cooking, so I started watching cooking shows and reading recipes in English. I also enjoy sports, so I followed English-speaking sports channels and read sports articles. Connecting language learning with my passions made it feel less like a chore and more like a fun activity. Practicing mindfulness and relaxation techniques helped me manage the stress and frustration that sometimes come with learning a new language. Techniques like deep breathing, meditation, and positive visualization helped me stay calm and focused, especially during challenging moments. Learning about the culture associated with the English language was also enriching. Understanding cultural references, humor, traditions, and etiquette gave me deeper insights into the language and made my interactions more meaningful. It also fostered a greater appreciation and respect for the diversity within English-speaking communities. Using technology to aid my learning was a game changer. Language learning apps, online courses, and virtual reality experiences provided interactive and engaging ways to practice English. These tools offered flexibility and convenience, allowing me to learn anytime and anywhere. Reading extensively in English was another practice that significantly improved my language skills. I explored various genres, from fiction and nonfiction to poetry and technical writing. This not only expanded my vocabulary, but also exposed me to different writing styles and perspectives. Book clubs and reading groups were great for discussing what I read and gaining deeper insights. Developing a routine was crucial for consistent progress. I dedicated specific times each day to different aspects of language learning. For example, mornings were for reading and writing, afternoons for listening and speaking practice, and evenings for watching English shows or interacting with language partners. This structured approach ensured balanced and comprehensive learning. Engaging in creative activities like writing stories, poems, or even song lyrics in English tapped into my imagination and made the learning process more enjoyable. Creativity allowed me to play with words and expressions, making the language more personal and memorable. Volunteering in environments where English is the primary language helped me practice in real life. So friend, if I, a 15-year-old from Brazil with no English knowledge, can become fluent and transform my life, so can you. Don't be afraid to start from scratch. Make mistakes and learn from them. Believe in yourself. Stay committed and embrace the journey. Remember, language learning is not just about mastering words and grammar. It's about unlocking new opportunities, cultures, and perspectives. So, take the first step today, and who knows where your new language skills will take you tomorrow.